Hi. So last time we learned how to perform the installation of Docker, and now we are going to use the Docker and see some couple of commands. I'm going to use the Docker Hub, which is a public repository provided by Docker, and in this you can find all the images. So if we go into Docker Hub, go in Google Docker Hub, and I'll look for BusyBox. It has been widely used. So this is an image of BusyBox I want to use in my environment to perform the basic test. So if you'll see right now, there are no Docker running. Docker ps-a shows all the containers which are up and running. So we can see first that the Docker is up and running or not. So it's up and running, and I can see execute the command. I can see there's no Docker container ran earlier or right now, and there is no image, and there's no volume. So it's a fresh environment. And so what we are going to do, we are going to run the Docker command, and when I do the Docker run, BusyBox, and I echo hello world, then what it is going to, it is going to first fetch to the local system, and then it will use that image to spin up the container. So first it is unable, it try to find it locally, it unable to find it, then it find the image here, BusyBox, and then it ran the command hello world. This is a, if we see here, the tag is latest, and in here we can see the old tags as well, so old versions here. So let's take an example. If I want to run this particular image, this tag, I how we have to run, just the way I ran the BusyBox, I will go here, I'll give that particular image name and execute it. So now this particular image with this particular tag is not in local, so it went again to the remote repository and fetched the image. So if you see, we have two different tags for Docker. Now if I want to run a simple command like hello compute, it this time it ran straight away. It didn't go to the remote repository since we were having the local image. So this is how it goes and perform the execution of the command. So if we see, the previously we discussed the same. First, when it has to run, it will look for the local image. If it doesn't find, then it goes to the remote registry Docker Hub and fetches the image. So this is what we have used right now. So in here, if we run the Docker ps-a this time, you can see all of the containers which has run earlier has been exited, and they have some dummy name which has been given by the Docker engine. So if we run Docker ps, it will not show the exited Docker container, it will only show the up and running container. So we can see the Docker history of BusyBox, and it shows that it has been created with the Debian. So we'll see the Docker history more when we'll do the build of the image ourselves. Now there's another command which we can use, and I can log into the Docker container itself. So before we log into Docker container, I want to show what if I run sleep 1000 in this. Oh, sorry, not an echo. I want to run the actual command sleep 1000, and see my system is kind of hung. I can't take the control back until unless that sleep time gets over, and once it gets over, I can take the control. I can do control C. I can't take back my access, so I'll just wait right now, or I can take another session. Now if you see in here, right now that Docker is up and running. It is still up and running because this one is in process. Once this task gets completed, sleep 1000, then it will exit and it will have a status of exit over here. So what we can do, we can perform the inspection for this container. Here we can see the IP address assigned to this container. This particular IP become much more significant, or multiple containers have to communicate to each other. In that scenario, this IP becomes makes more sense. Right now, from the startup, we can see the status. It is up and running. What it is doing, it is running the sleep command with the argument of 1000, and this is a name given to this particular container. And there's a basic information about the container. By using the inspect command, we can dig down and understand how this particular has configured the Docker environment. I'll just install Tmux. So since we learn about the bit of about the Docker, how it runs, so there's another command. If I don't want to basically perform the execution of a command, I just want to pull the image, I can do Docker pull, and just like a busybox in the remote repository, we have Ubuntu. So I'll pull this one, and once I perform the pull command, it will just download the image. Docker ps -a. You can see there's no new container which has spin up, but if we'll see the images, then we can see there's a Ubuntu image as well. So we can download the container and can be reused later. If I want to run the Docker run this time, since it has been local, I need not to fetch the image from the remote repository and perform the execution of the command. So just since I'm going to use the Ubuntu, I'll just connect to the container as well. So -i-t means it's an interactive session. So right now I'm inside this container. So if in here I see, we can see this particular name, and the name given to this container does match. So I am connected, it's up and running, this one. and I'm inside the container. I can perform the installation like apt get install git. Before install, I think we need to do update. Now, if I do apt install git, then I can do the git commands in here. Once I exit, I can see that this has been exited, and next time if I want to again connect to the Ubuntu, now in here you'll see that it has spin up another container, the not to the old one. Therefore, this time I run the git command in this, it will not able to find, because we perform the installation of the git in the old container, not in the new one which has spin up this time. So generally, container is the process, we can consider it as a process. Just for an analogy, it does the task, it dies, and image is something kind like physical layer, kind of having a actual data in that, and they use the image to spin up the machine, and we can perform the installation on that one. And if we want to create our own image, we can take the image like a Ubuntu, we can perform the git installation, and later we can configure the image, which we'll see in further. Right now, I want to show that there's another command like docker logs. I want to use the old one to see the logs, and in here, if we see, we can see the all what we did in that particular docker. So we perform the update of git update, and then we perform the installation of the git, and we then validate that the git is installed or not. So in this way we can review the logs of that particular docker container even though it has been exited. Since last time we ran this command, we can see for 10 minutes it has been running. Probably now up to 10 minutes it is done, and it might get exited. So this is how we can review the logs. We can perform the inspection of the container and see what IP has been delegated to the container. So let's take an example. If something is up and running, I want to connect to this particular container. How can I connect? I can run execute -it. It is a interactive session, this, and I want to run pin bash. I can run ls. So if you see right now, I'm in this particular container, the one which has been running from last 11 minutes. In here, if we see, I'm connected to this one, this container. Name, it is the 28, the ending with 28. This one, this container, and this is how we can connect to the up and running container using a exe command. And if you see here, I perform the inspect for this one. You'll see the IP which has been assigned, it is 172.17.2, and 17.01 is the gateway. So going further, when we'll talk about the networking, we'll understand uh, how does this particular IP get assigned. Just for the understanding, right now, if I run this one, in here you can see the bridge network and host network. And if I run inspect on my bridge network, so in here you can see this bridge network has been using the subnet of 172.17.0.0 slash 16. So this bridge network has been using by default by our Docker containers. So yeah, I'll exit this one here. And I'll exit this one too. So now we have seen when I install the Git, I exit the container, I couldn't able to find the Git again. Reason being Ubuntu command docker run it Ubuntu at that time it spin up the new container. So therefore, if we want to have the software installed on a system, we have to build the container image. So once we build the container image, we can use that image and which has that particular software already installed. Going further, we are going to look into this one, how to perform the Docker build. So in here, we'll keep it basic as of now. Thank you.